MLB is considering some changes to its playoff format. We're going to talk about it next. Larry Brown from LarryBrownSports.com here to talk about MLB's proposed changes to its playoff format. Now, first of all, I have to say I am really pleased MLB is actually considering a change because changes are desperately needed. So here's the proposal as reported by Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Currently, 5 teams per league make the postseason in MLB. This proposal would expand that to 7 teams per league. The top team in each league would have a bye, and then 6 teams would face off in a wild card round of the playoffs. The wild card round would feature 3-game series where the top seeded team has 3 straight home games, and that is the playoff. Now, there's one other element that would be very cool, and that is the proposal to possibly have a playoff selection show where the higher seeded teams get to pick their opponent. Now that would be awesome because it would allow and introduce and invite some trash talking. You would have some teams feeling disrespected. It would add a lot of intrigue, and I think that's a good idea. But I don't like the 3-game series, and I think that's problematic. So we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about what's good, what's bad. What's good? Expanding to 7, I think, is a good idea under certain circumstances. It's not good in the sense that, hey, MLB thinks that just by expanding the playoff field means that you're going to have more teams competing and trying to win, which is different, shockingly, from what we have seen in the last couple of years where too many teams just weren't trying to win because they just didn't think they were as good as the best teams like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Astros. So they said, why even bother? So MLB thinks adding 7 teams will add more incentive for teams to try. It's not that simple. And I'll explain why. I also don't like the short 3-game series playoff format. It's just not good enough in baseball. Baseball's a long season. You need longer playoff series to determine fairly a winner. So a 3-game series is not good enough. Plus, having one team be at home for all of it, it's not fair. It's not fair to the teams that do make the playoffs, but they're not among the higher seeded teams to be able to host. And it doesn't add incentive to those teams because that franchise doesn't even get to host a playoff game. Part of the benefit of making the playoffs, getting to host a playoff game for your fans, making extra money at the gate and concessions. And you're just taking that away. So I like the trash talking element. I like the selection show where teams get to choose. And I do like 7 teams, but not in this scenario. And I despise the idea of a 3-game playoff series to start with one team being at home for all of it. Not okay. So let me tell you what a better solution is. The better playoff solution, and I've thought about this one for a while, and I think it's great. And I think it resolves so much for MLB. You have 2 seasons in baseball, 2 half seasons, and that's the way to resolve things. The season currently is too long. 162 games, way too long. Who needs that many games? You end up with opening day being important and the final 3-4 weeks of the season where the playoff races heat up. That's important. And then you've got 140 games in between that don't matter. And that's a problem. And you have too many teams out of it come May that they know their season, it's not happening for them, okay? And that's a problem. You want more teams being competitive. You want more teams trying to win. You want more teams thinking they have a chance at winning. So how do you resolve that? You break it up into 2 half seasons, okay? So you play 75 games in the first half, 75 in the second half. Now, the top 2 teams in each league in each half make the playoffs. So that is 4 teams per league making the playoffs automatically. Then you give the division winner from each league the other playoff spot. And the division winner is determined by cumulative record. So that's 7 teams making the playoffs per league. Now, obviously, you're going to have some overlap. Maybe a team that finishes first in the first half also wins one of the divisions. And so the next team up would be the team with the best cumulative record. And that's how you fill up the playoff spots. And then to incentivize a team that qualifies for the playoffs in the first half by winning the first half or being a top 2 team in the first half, you don't want them just taking the rest of the second half of the season off. It's not good for the sport. That's bad for the sport. So how do you fix that? How do you combat that? Well, let me tell you. You give a bye in the first round of the playoffs for the team in each league with the best cumulative record, which is actually exactly what MLB was proposing with its modified playoff system. So I like that. I like having a bye to incentivize teams really going for it in the second half as well as the first half. The other thing that I would do with my playoff system, and this is important, is the wild card round, which would feature 6 teams squaring off and going at it. Yes, I would have that TV show and have opponents pick each other. That would be great to have higher seeded teams choose who they want to play. It would add so much intrigue. But the important thing is you've got to have a 5-game series. 5 games. It has to be that in baseball. 3 games is not enough. A 1-game playoff, it's exciting, but it doesn't incentivize teams to shoot for that second wild card spot currently. Okay, you've got to do a 5-game series. This is baseball we're talking about. It's got to have a long series to determine a winner more fairly. Plus, the 2-2-1 format ensures at least 1 home game and incentivizes a team to try and make the playoffs because they want that extra revenue. So my system, 2 half seasons, the top 2 teams to finish in the standings for each half make the playoffs. The team with the best cumulative overall record in each league gets a bye into the divisional series round. Then the 3 division winners also make the playoffs to make up the playoff field. And then you just keep it the way it is. 5-game series for the DS, and then 7 for the championship series, 7 for the World Series. I think that is the best way to go about doing things. Now, the beauty of this 2 halves is that if a team has injuries in the first half, they've got new life in the second half. And so even if you don't finish highly in the first half, you can still make the playoffs with a great second half. And for fan bases whose teams started off the season poorly, you've got new hope in the second half. And now a whole bunch of teams and fan bases have a reason to be excited again. You're giving baseball 2 opening days, 2 pennant chases per season. And you just did so without cheapening the postseason by expanding the playoff field with too many spots. And I think this would be great for the game and would really incentivize so many teams to go for it. It would create more meaningful games, and it would help generate even more fan interest. This is the way to do it. I think this is a great scenario. So what do you think about this proposal? What do you think about my solution to have 2 half seasons? What do you think about MLB's proposal? Let me know what you have to say in the comments. Please give me some feedback. What do you think about this idea? I think it could work. What about you? Let me know. Also, be sure to visit LarryBrownSports.com, download our app, subscribe to our newsletter. You get all our stories emailed to you every single day for free. It's great service. You won't regret it. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and stay up with LBS. We got you covered. All the best sports stories every single day. Make sure you follow. Thank you so much for watching.